Today we're going to talk about why Americans fear the bum gun, the great American hygiene myth. Have you ever noticed how Americans act like they invented cleanliness, yet they're the only people on earth who think that wiping their ass with dry paper is enough? Americans will spend hundreds of dollars on electric toothbrushes, antibacterial soaps, and hand sanitizer. But when it comes to the dirtiest part of the body, and I think you know where I'm talking about, they smear, fold, and toss it like it's a ritual of denial. The first time that most Americans see the bum gun in Thailand, they freeze. Some think it's a weapon. Some think it's for washing your feet. A few brave souls pull the trigger and end up soaking the ceiling or their pants. They'll laugh it off, but deep down, they're somewhat horrified because the bum gun exposes something that they've never questioned and that maybe they've been doing wrong their entire life. Now, let me just tell you a quick story. While I was in Bangladesh, my buddy Chuck, who is a very seasoned traveler, he's been to over 100 countries, he told me that he had never, ever used the bum gun. He thought it was for cleaning the bathroom. He had no idea how to use it, and he actually asked me to give him a brief run through on exactly how it works. And then he asked me, well, how does your ass get dry? Which I guess is a valid question, but it doesn't take all that long for your ass to dry if you do it right. Now, the fear comes not from the device, not from the water, but from the realization that the rest of the world figured out something basic, this basic, a long time ago. And America, the self-proclaimed leader of the developed world, is the one that, honestly, they are stuck in the dark ages of dry paper. I can just tell you from my own personal standpoint, I cannot stand toilet paper anymore. Once I discovered the bum gun, once I discovered using bidets, the bum gun, uh, I will never go back to that. Okay. Now, the average American's first encounter with the bum gun is kind of like watching a caveman with fire. They'll lean over like it's going to bite them. They'll search for a handle, a button, a set of instructions, and then they go right back to their comfort zone, the toilet paper roll, clinging to it like a security blanket. It's not really the fear of technology because Americans use far more complicated gadgets every day. It's the fear of, I guess it's the fear of intimacy, the thought of water touching something they've been trained to treat like a dirty secret. And that's the thing. American is a Puritan country at its core. They won't admit it, but you can see it everywhere in how they deal with sex, the human body, and anything remotely unclean. The bum gun, in all its directness, forces people to face that they are animals with bodies that need washing, not wiping with a dry piece of paper or a few squares of toilet paper. And that's kind of too real for a culture raised on shame and modesty. The irony is somewhat beautiful. A nation obsessed with cleanliness, terrified of the one thing that would make them truly clean. And here's where it gets weirder and a little more historical. After World War II, American soldiers stationed in France and Italy saw bidets for the first time. But the places they commonly saw were in the brothels. So when they came home, they told everybody that bidets were for prostitutes. And that association has stuck. For decades, the bidet was considered immoral or European filth. Fast forward to today, swap porcelain bowls for a plastic hose, and the bum gun inherits the same dirty reputation. Americans didn't reject it because it didn't work. They rejected it because they were told it meant you were dirty. Using it meant you were dirty. And of course, there's money involved. The toilet paper industry in the U.S. makes billions. They've convinced generations that softness equals cleanliness. Commercials show happy families, cartoon bears, and quilted rolls, but not one mention of the fact that the paper doesn't actually clean anything. It just gets the bulk of the filth from your nether regions. And why would they ever promote a tool that makes the product obsolete? They wouldn't. So they market the shame, the habit, and the comfort, and people buy it literally and figuratively. Now, meanwhile, Thailand has figured it out decades again. They've always used water, but the bum gun is everywhere. It's cheap, it's simple, it's effective, and it's not seen as a luxury or shameful. It's just logical. I mean, even in the poorest areas, they have squat toilets and you pour the water down your backside. You have to use your hand. But in the slightly more affluent areas, they use the bum gun. It's in roadside bathrooms. It's in shopping malls, five-star hotels, gas stations. And you really don't need a lecture. You don't need instructions. You don't need a manual. You point, spray, and you leave the bathroom clean. You leave the bathroom. Okay, you might be a little bit wet. You just sit there for a moment and things just kind of go into the toilet, and you can pat yourself dry. You can use a wet wipe. You can use whatever you want. But once you've used it for a few months, there is no going back. And if you go to the US, you will, after using it, you will feel dirty every trip to the bathroom. You start missing that little sprayer like it's your best friend. And this isn't just about hygiene, it's about mindset. Americans pride themselves on innovation, but often reject what they didn't even invent. The bum gun represents humility and the idea that someone else somewhere, they came up with something that's a better idea than toilet paper. And that is the real fear. The bum gun shatters the illusion of American superiority in the simplest, most intimate ways possible. It shows that maybe, just maybe, the rest of the world isn't backwards and that maybe America is just stubborn. When you strip away the jokes, the history, and the plumbing, the truth is simple. Americans fear the bum gun because it forces them to confront change. It is a piece of metal and plastic that proves something they've believed their whole life is wrong. That's uncomfortable, but the bum gun isn't weird. It's cleaner, cheaper, and smarter. Let me tell you something. I'm hooked on it. Now I've been over here for 31 years. I will never go back to toilet paper. Never. It's not going to happen. Any place I move, if they don't have a bum gun, well, then I'm getting one installed. That's progress. And it starts outside of the comfort zone. Now, I used to laugh at it in the beginning, and now I can't imagine life without it. You want to know what civilization really looks like? And it's not about Starbucks on every corner, although Starbucks is everywhere in Thailand as well. But it's a country where people actually wash their asses. And, you can use soap too if you really want. But Americans fear the bum gun. Deep down, they fear something even more, and that is realizing that the rest of the world has been right all along.